Hey guys, this is Aaron here again. I'm coming at you with another deck profile. It's been a while since I did one. So since it's Halloween, I heard a couple other YouTubers are doing Halloween themed archetypes. So I decided, hey, why not make a vampire theme deck and then just test it out and try my own version of it. So here it goes. So first card is one of the newer boss monsters. I put only one vampire, Voivode. I don't know how to say Voivode. I'm not sure if I'm saying it right, but I just put it at 1 because it's a good boss monster, has high attack, and then it can special summon itself from the graveyard. And yeah, I only put it at 1 because it can get kind of bricky if you have too many cards, too many high level monsters in your hand. And I feel like this might be the problem with the vampire deck. More of this pure variant is that there's a lot of high level vampires like this, level 5s, level 6, and level 8s, and there's also the Vampire Vamp. I'm not a very big fan of Vampire Vamp, so I don't use her. But I use Voivode at 1 because it's a new card, I'm still trying it out. It's a pretty good attack monster again. On to the next bigger level vampire cards. I have 2 Vampire Scarlet Scourge. This one is okay for me too as well. Again, I'm more old school player. I prefer older cards, but I mean, it's not bad too. This is probably one of the lesser cards that I use. I prefer summoning Vampire Duke and even Doom King Ballardrock. I'll talk about that monster later on, but yeah, usually I summon those 2 monsters, and then once in a while I have Voivode for higher attack. Yeah, so that I have 2 Vampire Dukes. Some people like Duke, some people don't. I like it because you can summon it with Turtle. You can just ram it and suicide with Turtle and just straight up summon Vampire Duke from the Turtle's effect. Or you can set it up where you can summon Vampire Duke from a newer card called Vampire Ghost Ogre, and it's pretty useful for just comboing with Vampire Kingdom and then just making your opponent discard cards from the deck and stuff. So I like Vampire Duke. It's a very versatile card. And then when you normal summon it, you can summon another vampire from the graveyard, which really helps. Fraulein, I have 2 Vampire Fraulines. I might move this to 1 or 2. I really like her effect because it's kind of like a Dark Honest except it's for vampires, or a regular Honest except it's for vampires. So you pay life points equal to how much of her attack you want to add to your attacking monster, and then it just adds the attack, just does the damage calculation like that. So I really like her effect. I run her at 2, but if you don't like 2 because it causes too much life points, you can probably run it at 1. Yep. So as you can tell, this deck runs a lot of 2-ofs and has some OCG cards I'm still trying out. So I'm just going on to it. So 2 Scourge, 2 Duke, 2 Fraulein, 2 Mizuki. I used to play Mizuki at 3 a lot. I moved it down to 2 because I'm trying out some new cards. It's a good Reborn card. If it's in the graveyard, you can just remove it and then you can just summon any vampire you want. It's such a good card. Like this card came out so long ago and it's still relevant, still good. Vampire Sorcerer, I don't really like this card that much. I put it in because I'm trying to focus more on vampire themes. I feel like the vampire zombie version of this deck is stronger because again you can summon Doom King. But I'm just using Sorcerer there because just as another beat stick, and they can help summon out Voivode if it's in the graveyard. 2 Pyramid Turtle. I feel like this card is really underrated. It's an old card that came out a long time ago, probably like 2003, 2004 when I started playing, but I feel like it's still really good. When you attack another monster and it goes to the graveyard, the turtle it just activates effect. You can summon any zombie monster with from your deck. Literally almost anything that's 2000 defense or less. So I feel like it's really useful for summoning Ballardrock. It's very useful for summoning Duke. It's very useful for summoning a Vampire Vamp. So I'd say don't overlook this card. Try it out before you switch it out. It's really fun for casual play or even some semi-competitive play too. It might throw your opponent off during locals. They might be wondering why you're attacking with Turtle, and then they realize, oh, you're attacking with Turtle, and then you just bring out this big old monster like straight from the deck from during the battle phase. They might not expect that, so yeah, go ahead, try out Pyramid Turtle. I put 2 Chenille Solitaire. Some people run it as a 3 of. I like to put it as a 2 of because I'm running other things. I probably, if I would to put something else at a 3 of, I would probably put Unizombie because Unizombie is really good for filling up the graveyard and doing more combo plays with that. There's a new card called Vampire Ghost Ogre. I'm putting it at 2 of. I feel like it's like a zombie version of, or like a vampire version of Unizombie. So it's pretty good. And then if it's in the graveyard, you can pay 500 life points and then just remove it from play, and then you can summon a normal summon a vampire from the hand. So pretty good. I'd still like Unizombie over the Vampire Ghost Ogre because for the Vampire Ghost Ogre for this OCG card, I don't think it's out yet for English, or maybe I don't know. I think it's not yet because if you use its effect, a Vampire Ghost Ogre's effect, you have to discard a vampire. Where in a Unizombie you can discard any card from your hand. So I find Unizombie more useful. Again, one of the best zombie cards that ever came out, even as of recent times. So Unizombie is really good. So my favorite two monsters, utility monsters in deck are still Mizuki and Unizombie. I used to not use Vampire Retainer or Vampire Familiar very much. I used to try that 3 of. 3 of is it's too bricky for me. If you have too many low level monsters in your hand, they don't really do anything. So this deck is very combo oriented. You need multiple pieces for it to function correctly. If you have like top decking one card at a time, the vampires don't run really well. You either get flooded with a bunch of high level monsters that you can't summon from your hand, or a bunch of low level monsters like Vampire Familiar where it can't really do anything except put in face down defense position. So you need multiple cards in this deck for it to function right. But if you can get the combo off, it's pretty good. Again, Vampire Retainer. This thing you can add a spell or trap into your hand. Very useful. So useful. Usually for Retainer, when I summon it, I usually add a Vampire Kingdom or maybe Vampire Awakening to help summon more monsters from the deck, or for the mill effect. And Vampire Kingdom with Retainer, it can help battle phase. It can help boost your vampire monster's attack, so it can get its effects off. Vampire Familiar is also pretty similar. I tend to like to use a Glow Up Bulb or Shiranui to summon vampire monsters from the deck, or zombie monsters from the deck, or a Pyramid Turtle to summon zombies from the deck. But you can use Familiar to add a vampire monster into your hand as well to combo off other plays. Again, Familiar and Retainer, not my favorite cards. I feel like Retainer is a little bit more useful, so it can grab your spell cards that you need. Now, other usual cards, Raigeki, Feather Duster, Reasoning to help more extender plays. Reasoning is really underrated. Recently, I feel like no one's using it. I feel like it's really good. It can dump the cards you don't need into the graveyard, and then vampire monsters. If it goes into one, you can summon it from the deck. So very useful. Try it out if you haven't tried Reasoning. If you don't want Raigeki or Harpy's Feather Duster, you can put it inside. Terraforming to summon out, play out Vampire Kingdom, Foolish Burial, just dump another monster. Very useful with Mizuki. Monster Reborn, a given. Twin Twister, again, you put it inside if you're not running against decks that use a lot of spell or traps. Call of the Mummy, I like this older card because if you don't have any monsters on the field, you can just straight up special summon anything, any vampire monster or any zombie monster from your hand. So I feel like it's pretty useful. If you don't like it, you can switch it out for another Vampire's Domain. But I run it at a 1-of because it's an OG card. I like it. Next, I have Vampire's Domain. I used to not like this card. The more I test it out, the more I kind of like it. Because you can, when you attack and then you do damage to your opponents, you can gain life. So gaining life is really pretty useful for this deck too. Yeah. And then Vampire Kingdom, I find this as one of the more useful vampire cards in the deck because it's so disruptive when your opponent is doing combo plays. If their card is sent to the graveyard, you can target a card on the field and just blow it up. So it just messes up their Synchros XC or Link plays or whatever they're trying to play. So I find it very useful. Yeah, my favorite spell card is probably Vampire Kingdom. And then favorite monster would probably be probably a Mizuki or Unizombie. Yeah. Trap cards, I put 2 Vampire Awakening, very useful for summoning vampires again from the deck. So good. 2 filler cards, Quaking Mirror Force. If you don't want it, you can take it out to put something else in. Maybe like 3 Mizukis again or 3 Unizombie. And then I have 2 Vampire Domination. You can either switch this out for Solemn Judgment, Solemn Strike, depending on what you want to play, or even more draw cards like Upstart Goblin or something like that. Onto extra deck, I have Bells for Tuner, Chaos Ruler for more dumping cards into the grave. This is a new card called Undead Vampire. It's a big XYZ OCG card, boss monster, 3000 attack. So its effect is that if you can use your, believe you can use your opponent's monsters to summon this card out, and then you can use its effect where you can detach a material, and then you dump 4 cards from both players' deck into the graveyard, and then out of those 8 cards you can summon a monster. So it's really cool. You can use your opponent's monster as well, I believe. So really fun card. I wonder how this thing will do when it comes out into TCG. I think it will be pretty fun to use as well. So next one for XYZ, I have 2 Dhampir Sheridan. Sheridan, it's okay. It can summon one of your opponent's monsters. I mean, not bad for combo plays. I prefer Bram because when it dies, it just comes back, kind of like Vampire Lord, except it's better. So I prefer Bram over Sheridan. So I just put it at 2 of. You can run other ratios if you like. Usual XYZs, Tornado Dragon, Silent Anarch, Abyss Dweller. This is a new OCG card that is on Yu-Gi-Oh! Pro or Ignis Pro. Try Vampire Fascinator. So for effect, it's a Link 3. So you can special summon a monster in your opponent's graveyard. So which is nice. It's kind of like Sheridan's effect. And then she also has another effect is that you can kind of like snatch steal or change a heart or steal one of your opponent's monsters too after you do something. So it's really useful in certain situations. Not my favorite extra deck card, but pretty fun to use nonetheless. And then other Nightmare Phoenix, Vampire Sucker, just other stuff right here. And then for the side cards, if you really want to have fun, I would probably put like OG cards like Dark Dust Spirit. If you guys played Yu-Gi-Oh! For a long time, if you guys played Zombie since the beginning, since the early 2000s, you know Vampire Lord is really good. But nowadays, not as good. But if you want to have fun, just put Vampire Lord in, Zombie Master, even Gozuki's Spirit Reaper. Spirit Reaper is really good back in the day, but not as good now, but it's fun for casual play. I'd say for, since the pure Vampire variant isn't as strong, I'd say if you want it to be more competitive, I'd definitely put in at least 2 Doom King Baldradrock, and then I would put in at least 2 Glow Up Blooms, and then I would put in Zombie World, and then probably take out some of these right here. I'll probably take out this one, Voivode, because it gets kind of bricky. I take a 1 Vampire Duke out, and then I would add a Mizuki, and then I would maybe even take out one of the Pyramid Turtles to put more Doom Kings in, and then Glow Up Bloom. Because for this guy's effect, Voivode, it can only negate effects that are activated in the graveyard, where Baldradrock or Doom King, it can negate effects anywhere on the field, in the hand. I believe pretty much anywhere, kind of like a Majesty's Fiend. So this guy, really good. Highly recommend that if you want to mix in vampires with zombies, put at least 2 of these guys. You will not regret it. I think this one is much better than all of the other vampire boss monsters. So there's all Jackal Bolin, again Dark Dust Spirit, Vampire Lord, Necro Werewolf for summoning out, bringing out Zombie World. I also have Gozuki there, Starving Venom, Book of Life, and Super Poly. So I see a lot of people in their deck profiles nowadays. They put in Starving Venom and then Super Poly. I'm not a fan of that. You can use it if you want. I just like summoning vampires, focusing more on that, and then the big old zombie boss monsters instead of Starving Venom. So yeah, that's the end of the deck profile. Just let me know what you think. And thanks for enjoying the deck profile, and happy Halloween. See you.